Maria Marks and Mike Bailey and Schreier. So and welcome to Brenda. Brenda's part of our Massive Capital team as well now. So she's helping out in investor relations. So you'll see her smiling face with us. So tonight we're just going to go through Q&A and an overview of the KP versus the GP, which was part of the series that we did last week. And Mike, if you want to push the slide through, we can get rolling. So tonight we're just going to go through who Massive Capital is. For those of you who are new to us and haven't been on one of our previous webinars, you can find past webinars on our YouTube channel. So please check out some of the previous stuff that we've done. We're then going to talk about our partnering opportunities. And then later on, Mike's going to be going through, and Maria are going to be going through some case studies, a GP series for the investments and the communication as a GP. And then we're going to open it up for some questions. This is our lovely disclaimer that we all have here at Massive Capital. This is an educational series. We have them every Wednesday. So we hold them at 6 p.m. Central, 7 Eastern Standard Time. And this presentation is just to give you an education and help you understand more about how the syndications work, how a syndicator with an integrated construction company like ours works, give you some more background about limited partnerships and GPs. And as always, remember that we're not CPAs or attorneys. So all of this information you do want to run by your financial trusted advisor. And don't forget, if you have not been to our multifamily movement before, we had one a few months back, and we're going to be holding another one. It's a virtual conference that we're going to be having on November 3rd from 9 to 9. And who should attend something like that? Anyone who's already a real estate investor, of course, someone who's looking at learning more about diversifying and coming into the real estate investment world, anybody who currently is working in the GP space, the limited partner space, multifamily investors, institutional investors, and just anybody who wants to learn more. You want to connect, you want to learn, you want to collaborate with us. This is a great opportunity for you to get to know a lot of the people that we partner with, and then those of us that are on our current team. You can get your tickets. I'm going to drop in the chat as well. You'll see the QR code there, but go ahead and register now because we're going to be having it in 15 days. So.
Yeah, and I would say I'd like to test out, see our QR code's working okay. Test it out, get registered. You can get a general admission ticket for free. The VIP is $99, or we also have for everyone on tonight, we have a 50% off. It's a little early, but we're calling it the spooky surprise special registration, 50% off something.
And do we have that special code that
I'll share it in a
Maria?
minute. I'll share it in a minute.
Perfect.
But yeah, go ahead and test out the QR code for us. Make sure it's working. See if you see any glitches. We gave away some free VIPs to somebody last time that found some glitch for us. And let's help us out in the process. So thank you guys.
Gonna be an awesome day. Everything packed into one. I'm excited.
This is our team here at Massive Capital in really one group. You'll see we have the partners, Schreier and Bo, Sanjay, Pat, Mike, and Alexis. And then on the top row is most of the investor relationship team. We also have the senior accountants and the executive directors, our directors of finance, our asset property managers. So we've got a full group now with the integrated construction side, brokerage side, and also the syndication side.
Okay. You want to talk
So-
to this, Candace? You got it?
Yeah. So Massive Capital is an integrated development company. Those of you who've been with us for a while knew that we were heavy in the syndication space, working in the multifamily and flexible storage. These are the different areas that we now are working in. So we've integrated with a construction company that has brought a lot of additional opportunities for us and our investors. You'll see that these are the different areas that we're in. We've heavily been in the Texas area, Dallas, Houston, Austin, San Antonio. But we also, through other partnerships and other GP teams that we've gotten to work with over the years, are in Atlanta, Georgia, North Carolina. We have a few properties now in Denver, Colorado, and then Phoenix, Arizona, and Tampa, Florida are targeted markets that we're looking to expand in.
Got it. You're good with this, Candace? You want me to go ahead?
Oh yeah, you can go ahead. Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
thank you. Just double checking. Thank you for getting us rolling, getting us started off. You introduced Brenda, and I was realizing we need to get Brenda added to our deck. And we also have Ellen. I think Ellen's on tonight as well.
She is indeed.
Yeah, Ellen is joining us, and we'll be doing underwriting for Massive Capital going forward, working directly with Sanjay and delivering, so as everybody has, a lot of people come to us with deals, and we've been looking at them, working on them. We get caught up, get caught up, fall behind. So Ellen's coming in to keep us caught up all the time on that. And so if you guys do have deals, you can send them to deals@massive.capital. One of y'all want to share that? Ellen, you want to share that in the chat? So that way everybody, and you can share your contact information as well. And that they can, know who you are. But deals@massive.capital if you get a deal. So currently we have for the year, we're on our 10th project for the year. We've got 7 that have funded/closed, and 3 that are in process currently. We also have a couple more that are about to go under contract. So we have, and we also do most all of our deals we do as a 506B and a 506C both. So you get an opportunity to invest if you're not accredited. And then you also, for those that are accredited, we continue to raise capital. So we have a limited time for the non-accredited, and then we switch over and go towards everyone that's accredited to do the wrap up of those. As I mentioned, on the debt activity, debt is like a really heavy activity right now for all deals. So with that, we've got 7 that I mentioned that are under contract in a different way. We've got 4 of those with recourse loans. So we talked last week about being a KP and what that meant, and recourse loan versus non-recourse loan. So we're doing some recourse loans as well, especially on the construction side, working with the local regional banks. So as a company now, Massive Capital with Realty One Partners, we're at $470 million of total assets that we're managing, 107,000 square feet of retail plus multi-use, which is in land development phase. Building construction currently, another 342,000 square feet. And then operations, which is apartments being operated or retail centers operated, or multi-use being operated, meaning retail with apartments on top. And, doing renovations where we do the, value add type work. So we have 1,350 units approximately, and almost 1.5 million square feet of total product that we're operating. So again, I want to be sure we don't want anyone to miss out on registering for our event. So, but we also, the reason we have this is we have 2 events coming up. We also have, after the virtual con November 3rd, we're going to be having in Dallas a in-person meetup February 15th to the 17th. And if you go to this worldwide web.massive.multifamily events, massivemultifamily.events, you go there, you can sign up for both of these. Primarily right now, the virtual con is the one that's live right now. Partnering opportunities. So we have a couple ways that you can partner with us with Massive Capital. We're doing, as mentioned, as Candace talked about, we have new construction and we have the construction company. So if you're a landowner or you have access to some land, or somebody that that needs some help with the land, we partner with the landowners to do the development, construction, and lease up. So they can either be active or become an LP in the process, but the land becomes their part of the deal, or they can be a GP as well potentially. And then we work on it together, and we bring the construction, the deal, and do everything else for that. So and then we co-sponsor projects to manage construction with our in-house team as well, metal and wood frame stick type construction. On the multifamily side, we support where we do the CapEx. We co-sponsor projects, especially heavy CapEx. And we, again, can bring the GC direct in-house and the construction company. These are large gaps. Having these construction company, the GCs directly with you is a great opportunity. And it's a large gap that a lot of people have. And then we also can co-sponsor and operate as support on the asset management side. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but more on the investor relations tonight. And then credit improvement. So credit improvement means we sponsor the deals with you. We talked about that last week for the KP. And that means, we come with a certain level of liquidity, a certain level of experience, and also the balance sheet for those deals. Maria, I want to let you chime in a bit. You want to talk a little bit about our education program for us, please?
I would love to. This is where I love to be. It's the education program. So we've got a CRM, and if you are doing deals right now, you are talking to investors, the biggest thing that you are going to need is a CRM. We have one that we would love to share with you. If you don't have one, it is a Massive Multifamily Solutions CRM, and we have a site that we can help you get your CRM going, get your emails, your blasts, everything that you need. We can help you with that. So that's our CRM, number 1. Number 2 is our capital raise certification program. If you're thinking about being a GP and you don't know where to start, the best thing you can do to be on a team is learn how to bring capital. And it's not as easy as everyone thinks. You can't just go out and just beg people for money. As much as I wish that's how easy it was, it's not. And that's why this capital raise certification is an amazing program. It's with family offices. It's not just us. And I've learned so much from it just going through a first of few modules. So if that's something you're interested in, please let us know. We've got Brenda in the chat. She'll be able to help you and direct you where you can get more information on that. And then our last thing is the GP Accelerator Program. It is the path to becoming a GP. If you are looking for how to get started, you might be an LP now or limited partner and want to get on that GP team, that is the program to be on. It is very exciting and very intense. We got a lot of calls, but it is the way to jump in and learn all about underwriting, due diligence, capital raising, anything, any part of the deal that you need, that is where you want to be. So our education platform has a lot of different levels, but if you are wanting to become a GP, that's where you need to get started.
100%. Thanks, Maria. Excellent. So now let's get right into the meat of why y'all came tonight. We're going to do a reset a little bit from last week. We talked, like I said, we talked about, once you how to, so part of this is how to structure your GP team, and also to think about what happens during the process of doing a deal. So that there's a time commitment to consider per asset, and then there's the know-how within the domain, meaning also the know-how with the asset. Could be multifamily, it could be storage units, it could be it could be RV parks even. I mean, it's whatever it is. We're focusing into the retail and the multifamily primarily on our side, but that domain is important to know how you're operating there, because each of them financially, they're a little bit different into how you manage some of the key aspects of those. Remember the financials of the GP. We always want to like if we're partnering with some other people, like if I'm partnering with others in this group, and we're in the process of potentially partnering with any of y'all, because we want to be doing deals. We want to do more deals, and we want more people to be general partners as they grow in their process. So you want to have these discussions of what about the financials of the general partners. And these are tough questions to talk about and ask, but they're important. And as well, some historical indications of performance. How have they closed the deals they said they were going to close? Have they lost money on deals? And yeah, and I'll tell you, we've lost money. We did an episode here about losing money, but the money we lost was because we made an investment up front on due diligence, and we spent the money on inspections. We ended up losing money on that process, and we didn't do the deal because we found out things that were important. So when you talk about people lost money, find out like what's the reasons that they lost money, and understand that a little bit. When you think about the whole process of the general partner and the groups, we group it into these 5 categories primarily, and then education is a byproduct of everything that we all do as a general partner. Because anybody that's a general partner is always going to learn something new. So once you're in deals with us, you're automatically going to continue to be learning. Ideally, you come into our mentorship or education program. Now we have students that are leading deals with us, and we find a deal and we let them lead the deals. But again, the deal sourcing is a key component. The risk capital, loan guarantor, we talked a lot about this last week as the KP. Equity and investor relations is a key component, and then asset management. We're going to be getting to asset management in a few more weeks, and Shariah will be focusing on that primarily himself, with him and Sanjay and the work they've been doing. Today, we're going to focus on investor relations, investor communication, and what you need to be looking at and thinking about in yourselves or your teams, or as you grow. It took out. So, okay. One of the things we still look for is we're continuing to want to have more people be GPs. So I think we had 30 or 40 people now that we've helped become a GP over the year and a half or so we've been operating as Massive Capital. So when we talk about investor relations, and I'm probably going to pause at some point here and we'll take some questions, but we won't go through the whole thing tonight. As we usually get to the end, we'll stop and we'll have some questions and discussion, and then we'll finish up some of the presentation. But let's take a view at this, as what we're looking at is we're buying companies. We're not buying just an apartment or just a house. You're really buying a company. You've got employees that are working for you. You've got third-party contractors doing work for you. So you need to think about it as a business and a company, not just as an asset. If we think of it as an asset, and you think about, the debt and the debt terms and what they require for you, you're going to have you may stand a chance of losing your asset because you didn't really think of it as a financial process and as a company. So with us, we think, okay, the company that has, more than 50 million, and it may be even less, like one deal could be, you start with one deal, it's a $20 million deal. There's, a lot of us starting out, $20 million business that we're operating is actually could be fairly significant compared to where we are or where we've been in our journey in our life. But we look at it as a threshold. If you're more than 50 million, you need to start having a back office. And for us, a back office means I need people that are going to be doing financials and investor relations in order to grow that company and in order for me to be able to scale it. So we talked earlier, we started out, we had, through the beginning of last year, we had, maybe 30 million worth of assets through the first half of last year. And then we went, by the end of the year, we were at 110 million of assets. And that was, and we'll talk a little more, that was the period then we started scaling it. And it went from being me or us just being solopreneurs, just having one or two assets, three assets, to becoming that company. And once you get over that 75 million mark, somewhere in there, or 100 million mark, it's not even a should have, but it's a necessity to have that back office team. So part of our back office team is the financial side of things. So you have a property management company, and that property management company is going to collect all the data for you, but they're not really looking at it from the strategic financials, and all they're looking at is paying the bills, getting this done, executing. They're not looking at like, hey, do I have enough money to pay debt? What's the cash flow look like? Where's everything going? That's where the asset management or portfolio management comes in. And for us, we look at an asset management as a financial person that's taking all the data from the property management, making sure that all the debt information is there, make sure all the insurance, any other expenses are covered in there, to look at an overall P&L, profit and loss statement, and then starting to track, like, how am I tracking? What is my process? And am I, trend? Sanjay always talks about trend is your friend, right? So now you're able to start following trends. And we'll share some of the tools we use to do this as we go through that process. And I'm going to let Maria and Candace talk a little bit more about what the IR team does here in a minute. But the IR team, has to stay really close to all of our investors as well through that process. So this comes straight out of Harvard Business Review, and you guys have had a chance to kind of read it and look at it. There was a traditional way of doing things, and then there's more, a new way. But communicating, the company strategy, being active in and communication is critical. Talking about what, we're doing, taking initiative, being intentional, be out in front. Don't wait for somebody to come and ask you questions. Get out in front of it. Be out there talking to your investors. Be out there talking to other partners, and communication as much as possible. Maria, do you want to talk a little bit about who the investor relation team is, what they do, and kind of what what Massive Capital has done over the last few months, or
Sure.
18 months or so of operations?
Sure. So Massive Capital as a whole is always growing, as I know you see these pictures get even bigger every week. But our investor relations is Trevor, Jasmine, myself, and Candace. We're always adding, and even Brenda is getting added to that as well. But our investor relations team is at work all the time, kind of going back and talking to all of the potential investors or investors. We're on the phones. We are doing a lot of behind the scenes work. And that's what our investor relations team does. And we'll go through kind of that structure in the next slide as well. But the investor relations is kind of a all-encompassing title where it sounds like it's just one thing, but we really do a lot more of it. We're in the deals when the deals get started, when they're under due diligence, and we are constantly learning and understanding the deals so that we can get the best story and the best understanding to you as the investors, or even as potential GPs as well. Because if we don't understand the deal in its entirety, we won't be able to explain it when we're pitching it or we're talking about it with you guys. So it's really important that not only we're helping you get through our portal and understanding the parts of the deal, but it's important that we know it as well. So we need to understand it, be able to understand the underwriting, understand what has gone on in the other departments of Massive Capital, so then we can give you the best picture of the deal.
Yeah, and I want to just emphasize a couple things. We have over 400 investors roughly, and that's not just people in our database. That's people that have actually invested in our deals, and over 42 million raised in retail equity. So retail equity is what we call the kind of what is considered common equity, or people that put in 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, or a million. It's not, so it's individuals. Could be as an LLC, that's fine, but it's individuals that come to us and want to participate in the deals that we have. That's what is considered retail equity, versus institutional equity is where you're going out to, which we've done as well. You go to a Walker and Dunlop and they give you a check for 20 million to do a deal for part of your deal. You still have to raise retail equity to complete the capital stack. So you have your senior debt, and then you have you may have preferred equity in there, or mezzanine debt in there, which is like a Walker and Dunlop, and then you have your retail. Sometimes you don't have the middle one. Sometimes you just have senior debt, retail equity, depending on how big that deal is. And again, we're about getting close to that 500 million, $500 million of assets under management. So it's a growth and it's a process, and you've got to, don't expect that you start here, but think about this as you're thinking of where your company is. Are you going to go as a company, or are you going to continue to do little by little, or think about your growth pattern of that. And we're still in the process of raising equity. We're continually raising equity. We have about 15 more million to raise by the end of the year. So just gives you an idea of what is expected and what's going forward here. Maria, you want to talk a little here about what the investor relations team, there's the internal and the external communications that have to take place.
Right. So like I mentioned, before we can even bring to you all a deal, or before we even have a webinar on any of the deals we're presenting, the internal team has to get together to make sure we all are on the same page and know what's going on for the deal. So before we bring it to all of you, there's around 10 days after the deal gets its PSA or it's under contract, we are understanding the deal. We're making a pitch deck. We're making a presentation. We're understanding the underwriting. We're understanding the due diligence. And that internal team is getting to know every piece of the deal and start building out our investor communication that we will bring to all of you. And then about 15 days after we get that contract signed, we're continually reviewing the numbers, making sure everything is all correct. We have dotted all I's, crossed all T's, and everything is in line before we can bring it to all of you. And then basically 20, maybe a little bit more days after that contract is signed and we've done all of our due diligence on the internal side is when we actually bring it to you guys in a webinar. So it sounds like, we do a lot of deals, we got deals going, but there's a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes before we can even bring it out and open to all of you. So, and the data should be either a platform, an email, and syndications, if it's a syndication. So what to expect on this communication that you see from all of us? We'll have a narrative of the property, kind of the story, why we got access to this deal, why the seller's selling it, why the deal became available, and why we decided to go forth with it. And it's just kind of an as is and looking forward in what we predict will happen with this property, because investments are not 100% certain. So it is based on our pro forma, based on our numbers and all of the research that has been done. And that research is done by other teams as well. So we've got our underwriting team, our data analysis that's gone on, everything that's gone on before is how we can create that story that gets broadcast to all of you guys. So when we talk about a deal, we do some financials, you'll see a balance sheet. Sometimes you'll even see a rent roll of what each unit is going for, what it's being rented for, and that all comes from data that we've before we've given the presentation to you guys. So you'll see some pictures, some videos of the property, and then once the property closes and we've raised equity, then we do monthly investor updates that we are writing ourselves as investor relations. And then we're also doing a quarterly meeting for all of our investors. And that's communication that we're still doing. So we communicate with all of our investors while we're raising money, while we're trying into our deal, but then we're also communicating with our investors after the deal, months after the deal, and then even years after the deal closes. So it is an ongoing process that we are continuing to monitor, and it's a lot of work for investor relations. And we understand that this seems like a lot. I mean, we know that we do have a big team, and that's because of it. It took about 6 to 8 months for Massive to get going as well, and we are 2 years into this process. So we're always learning and optimizing and growing. It's not something that just happened like that. We're all a team and we're all ready to go. It was something that took time, and that's why syndications are a team sport. It is something that we do together. We each have our own area of expertise, and our investor relations is one of them. We can't do it. We can't do our job without the other teams that we've already talked about. One, a KP, but we can't do it with the other teams. So that's how this whole team structure works together, and it's hard to do it alone, and that's why we are such a big team. But it did take time, I promise.
And I would just like to add, I think it's important to also stress, like you had, Maria, that the very beginning of the process, the investment relationship team is working with the deal masters, if you will,
Right.
the people that are doing all the underwriting. So by the time that the deal goes through the closing of the PSA, we have a really good understanding of exactly what type of project it's going to be, because every limited partner or investor on the retail side might have a different appetite for the commercial real estate. Because as Mike had mentioned earlier in our call, some people, want to work in the mobile home areas, some want to do storage, some want to do whatever. So us being involved at the very beginning of the process with our particular company, I think is really important.
Right. Exactly.
Hey, sorry, go ahead a little bit. I'm looking at through the chat, so I was looking for
Yeah.
information. But I was trying to get caught up on, there was a lot of chat going on. I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, one of the
I'm
other
on it.
things,
I'm on it. Okay.
Brenda's typing as fast as she can. Well, one of the other things that Maria and I can talk about is we've spent a lot of time in the investor relationship management side of it, looking at how we're presenting the information when we do actually launch the deal as well. And one of the processes that we've been utilizing is working with our sophisticated investors that have been with us, the friends, the family, the people who maybe aren't accredited. And I think it's also important to know that here at the Massive Capital Realty One partnering group that we try to bring deals to those sophisticated investors on the front end too, before we necessarily take the deals to the accredited investors. So I think that's a really key thing that we do here at Massive Capital.
Thank you. So appreciate that. And one of the things I wanted, which is really at the bottom there again of this slide, is don't expect like everything happens and that we've been there forever and we've done this forever. There's a time we all start somewhere, as it says, and means usually you start small unless you've inherited something, from a family or you're part of a family business that you've grown into. But most of us are going to start small somewhere, or join a company, join a team somewhere. And, as you grow, and it took us, like I said, 6 months, but we were like, you didn't need everything. You could take care of most of the stuff for a while until you just can't anymore. And then you got to start, then you realize, okay, the pain is too much. You really got to build that back office. So the reason we want to talk about this tonight is giving people an idea of what that back office may look like and where you may want to lead that to, and also to know that you have people like Massive Capital. There's other big companies out there that have done it, but we're out here talking and sharing about it and willing to help people in their journey through that process. And that's part of the reason we do our mentorship. Our mentorship is where you actually sit in all of our operations. You sit in our operations calls, our underwriting calls, our assessment of partners, the asset management calls, sit in our capital raising discussions that we do, investor relations discussions. So besides actually, having the educational components, you participate in our actual ongoing business activities as well. So anything else on this slide, you guys? We're good?
Yeah,
oh, yeah. So a couple slides to wrap up with here, and this is more around the tools. So we shared at the beginning, mms.capital is this is your CRM for doing we use this for everything. This CRM, you can run your a lot of your business. Our investor relations runs out of this CRM. Our marketing campaigns run out of the CRM. Texting, emails, you guys receive a lot of from us. Apologize up front. Sorry about everything we send out. We're trying to get better at that, but we have a busy team and we're doing a lot in there. So this is a critical piece of it. The middle part here, or actually I'm going to go, I should have put these in different order. The far part over here is also part of the CRM, the inside piece of that CRM. And this is really an interesting, it's just a funnel. This is just one of our team members, Jasmine. And this is just her leads that she has 430. No, that's the new leads. And then she's got, you can add up these, but these are all at different stages of the funnel. And I know it may be hard to read there, but it's new leads, it's people that have replied, it's cold leads, it's warm leads, it's hot leads, they've invested leads, and there are different stages. And as you get further down, the value gets higher in that funnel. So you start out with your new leads until you get to your final investors and your final piece of the leads, the ones that have actually invested. Then the middle part here, this is cash flow portal, it's our investor portal, and it's where we track all of our deals. Within that, and then within that, we do our distributions, we do manage our investors, communicate with our investors from that portal, and everything happens there. And then the last two slides is really around our reporting software. So we talk about reporting that we do on a monthly basis, and then quarterly. We're looking at how do we do quarterly webinars about performance and things like that. But Power BI is a tool by Microsoft. It's part of Excel, but it's more of a reporting piece of that. And that is a tool we use that brings all of the data together that I was talking about to share with all the to share with our GP team to analyze the data for our asset managers to look at all that and see what to do, what needs to be done different, and also then to share with our investors what's going on with the property, where we at, what's happening. So that
and Mike, doesn't it also do the job of helping us understand when our properties are performing under or over and all of that kind of thing too? So like from a system standpoint, it helps us gauge how the property is being managed, correct?
Yes, 100%. That's exactly what it is. So it's not just
some questions on the CRM. Do you want to go over those or a little later?
Did I get? Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I was answering Candace first. Sorry. So it's. I don't know. Am I coming through okay or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You are. Yeah.
So it's not just reporting, as Candace said. It also is. It's managing the asset and telling us what is a gap, what needs to be worked on, what's an issue potentially. Yeah. Sorry, Brenda. I apologize. I was caught in the middle.
Yeah. I think she was asking about Cecilia's question, Mike. The question came in from Cecilia. Is the CRM only for investor relations, or can it be used for deal flow? And really, if you go back to that slide, Mike, there's two different CRMs that are going on here. The first CRM, which is the Massive Capital Solutions CRM, that is like, for lack of a better way of saying it, Salesforce on steroids. It's more of a prospecting CRM system that helps you take a very cold, no interest type, maybe sauce on Facebook and popped on our page, all the way through the warm, hot lead investor portion of the sales cycle, if you will. And then the middle chart that you see here in the middle, when he was talking about cash flow portal, what that software does for us is it really manages the actual deal itself. So that's where the investor goes to fill out the private placement memorandum, PPM, the OM, all of that. And that's where we track. And Maria is the cash flow portal guru in our office who does all things related to that. And then that's where we push out the information, to the limited partners and GP team after the deal has closed, if that helps.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, Candace. The CRM is what's used for internal, and the cash flow portal is what all the external sees. So external does not see what goes on in our CRM, but if you're getting started and you're doing syndications, a CRM is important because it keeps all of your data in one spot. So it tracks when you talk to people, when you send emails to people, how they're responding, how you can respond to them. You can keep notes on everyone. This is your database to make sure that you are keeping your investors, your communication all in one spot. So if you meet someone on a certain date, you put them into your CRM, then you have a date from when you met them. So if you are doing any kind of capital raising or any type of deal flow, CRM is important to keep all of your internal information together. That external
And
information,
also
yeah,
add, I
go
would
ahead.
also add it's important for compliance.
Yeah,
Yikes.
that too. I know. You're the compliance queen, Candace.
I was so happy when we got our CRM.
Yeah, because most people get started on Excel. I mean, that's
Right.
how we all got started. We all started with importing data from a business card into Excel, and that's where we all started. We didn't all start with something as fancy as a CRM, and that's
Oh,
that's why we love to show this, because we like to show the progression, and what we learn we want to share because it wasn't taught to us at first either. So where we started and versus where we are now, that's how we like to explain that as well. So that
yeah.
CRM is so important. If anyone asks, how long you've known someone, you have that in that database of your CRM.
Yeah,
Cash flow portal.
it's time stamped. Like
Yes.
before, when we first started, we would just drop a date in the Excel sheet and put today's date, person's name, here's the notes, here's the conversation. Now we can actually do reporting and we have time stamps, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, cash flow
So
portal is what you guys see, but go ahead, Mike.
so also though on the CRM, I'll just, I want to move on to, I see some other questions in the chat as well, but the CRM, we use it for, events, we use it for education.
Mhm.
And like for education, you manage even all of your content in there that you share with the people that are part of your program. We use it for our sponsors, meaning that's part of the events. We use it for our investors as well. So we've not directly used it for deals yet, but it would be there. It is so has so many ways to it's very flexible. So deal flow, things like that could also be easily managed in there, especially the back and forth you do with the brokers and the off market people, the wholesalers, whoever you're dealing with. You can bring all that into that and make that part of your process. Let's go. I see some other questions. I see some things in here. So I wanted to, I don't know, I might ask Brenda if you can help me keep track of a few things. So Angel let us know that she shared it to me directly, but that when she signed up, that it went to, and it gave her a JVS Toronto virtual employment conference that she signed up for. So we'll get that corrected. I think that's part of the back end of of our programming on that from another event. So we will get that fixed, but let's get Angel a free VIP for the multifamily education.
Congrats, Angel. I love your comment, though, that you put that a CRM is as good as you are diligent in entering information into it. There's so many CRMs out there. There's a lot of different versions of the same thing. The CRM is only as good as what you are going to put your effort into it. So you're completely right, Angel. And that's why if you need a CRM, we can help you with that. And if you have a CRM, just make sure you're using it, because it is an amazing tool that we use every single day. And if you're not using it, then get on one that you can use, because they are so important.
And then Angel, share your email and your contact information if you want for Brenda to be sure we get you the free VIPs signed up. And then I saw this is something else.
Tara had a good question. How did you get into real estate and learn the specifics on capital raising correctly? Understanding how to complete a value add method accurately.
There you go. Okay. Who was that for? Is that for any of us, I guess?
Well, you go first, Mike.
I was going to say, I can share if you don't want to share, Maria. I mean,
You good. You can all answer it too. Go ahead, Gannis.
Yeah, I just hooked up with the team and sat on calls every day, learning through through the massive capital calls, and so that's how I learned everything. I've only been in the real estate realm since 2021, and I've learned a 100 years worth, I feel like a fire hose.
Yep.
from the group. So
That's a good point. And how to raise capital. I mean, just knowing that I can learn something every day from this. I learn something consistently every day on raising capital and being part of investor relations, because when you're raising capital, you're not just raising capital. There are so many other things that you're doing, from helping investors through continuing to communicate with your investors. There are so many things that come along with just bringing money to a deal. And I've learned so much since we got started, and just those courses like capital raising certification that has helped me even understand more about the fundamentals of capital raising. So being on these Zoom calls, talking to people outside, I mean, people put their information on the chat, just start reaching out and start talking and start understanding. That's how I learned as well, just through conversations, being on these Zooms like we're on tonight.
And asking questions.
Yeah.
Make sure you always ask questions. If you don't understand an acronym, because like acronyms are king in every industry, just say, what the heck is NOI? What the heck is CRM?
Right.
Tell me what it means.
Exactly.
For me, I've been in real estate. I bought, I shared my story with Candace and some of the others a while, but I bought my first piece of real estate was some land many years ago when I was actually in Indonesia, and I bought it on eBay.
My favorite story.
Was my first real estate investment, and I started buying land online and then bought some houses while I was overseas, and it was more of a hobby initially, and just collecting it. Then when I really decided I was going to go, into it and learn, I joined some masterminds. So either join a mastermind, join ours. I'd love to have y'all join with us a mentoring program that will take you from here to here faster than a lifetime. You can do what some people and that's we still copy. We look at people that are above us and we still copy what they're doing. We're trying to learn from them. So we as Massive Capital are part of a lot of larger masterminds, and we take everything we've learned there, and the way we implement it for us is just how we like to help people learn in their journey and how we think is effective in that process. So that's a key to me. I want to do one thing on this slide here. We have one investment, Harris Ridge. This is our only 506C right now. Currently, we have a couple others starting soon in the 506C, but this is our only active 506C. If you're interested, again, you can scan this QR code. You can sign up for the investor portal. There's no risk to it. There's no cost to it. You're already part of our network. You're already seeing information from us. So, there's no requirement to make an investment when you sign up. But it'll let you see this deal and other deals. And we're also running a special on this. If anybody wants to invest over 250K into this deal, and this will probably apply to some of our other deals in the future. We're offering a bonus on top of the regular returns that you see here at the bottom. So this is a 3-year hold. It's not a typical 5-year. It's a 3-year hold. It's retail, and it's a return of 172% or 1.7 equity multiple. So like $100,000 investment at the end of 3 years, you should come out of that with 170,000 based on the estimates in the business plan. So if you got more questions about it, you're interested in putting in a large sum, give me a call or send me a text first. Let me know what it's about, so then we can set a time to talk, or email me at mike@massive.capital. I'm going to stop sharing there for a bit and go to some of the other questions. And if anybody now has questions, raise your hand and let's just talk about it as you wish. I saw okay, so Barb also asked, we talked about, this is interesting, we talked about this, we keep talking about this. The crowdfunding is an option, but we're thinking about like a Reg A, a raise for Reg A where you can have both accredited and non-accredited investors and use your track record. Just the time and expense of those right now are not, it's something we're looking at. We're looking at a couple different funds that we're planning to open, but we didn't want to move. A lot of people move into, we feel, a lot of people move into fund maybe too early, and you'll hear about a lot of people start a fund, but it doesn't really go very far. They don't complete it. They spend the money, but nothing happens from it. And I'm excited for people trying and going and doing that. But there's, not having a track record was something that we felt why we didn't want to start a fund right away, or even, kind of move into this Reg A crowdfunding part yet. I think you'll see us start moving into a fund towards the end of this year, or early next year, and or possibly different crowdfunding Reg A type of investments. What other questions were out there if I missed? Just these. I got that CRM. Hey, did y'all see the Spooky 50? If you Spooky 50 and you sign up for the VIP, you'll get 50% off of the VIP for the conference.
We had a good time in the VIP rooms at the last conference.
Yeah, and that's
some good conversations.
Yeah, it's a cool thing. The way I don't know if anyone who from here was on there, but it really runs like a real conference. It's not just Zoom rooms and stuff. You go in, you enter, there's exhibitor booths. You go check out the exhibitor booths. There's people there. You can chat with them. We have a general admission networking room, and there's also a VIP networking room. So you get to go into those networking rooms and spend some time talking with people, meeting people, getting to know them. And then you go to the general sessions and you join and listen and participate with the speakers, see what's going on, share comments, and then be part of the whole experience, really. So it's as close to being a in-person live event as I've seen.
Yeah, and it was the most comfortable event I've ever been to, because you get to just sit and watch, and you don't have to be on your feet the whole day networking. I'm a huge fan. Coming back from an event last weekend, it's nice to be online and do it virtually. It was a really good time last time, so you don't want to miss out. Let's see.
Yeah, the Reg CF is another option to run with your 506C. There is a couple things with it as well, but That is another scenario for sure. What was the off topic? Oh, Steve. Oh, okay. Yeah, I need to check. Maria, do you remember off the top of your head when we have the Pasadena investor call coming up?
Give me like 2 seconds. I'll get you the
Yeah,
date.
Steve, we do have, I don't know if Steve's still on here, but we do have a review of that project coming up.
And you will be emailed through Cash Flow Portal. You will get an email about the date a week in advance with the Zoom link and everything and where to go. So it will be around the first week of November. I will give you the date though.
It's just checking the calendar.
That's not, Steve, that's not off topic at all necessarily. We're talking about investor relations, so
November 2nd. Told you, first week of November. November 2nd, 7:30 Central Time. And you will get an email about it, Steve, I promise. Just in case. There you go.
November 2nd, right?
At 8:30. Well, no,
No,
7:30 Central.
Central. 8:30 for me and Candace.
Yeah, poor Maria
For
and
those
I.
of us on the East Coast.
We are ESTers over here.
EST, yes.
There we
And
go.
yes,
And McCullum's at 6, in case anybody cares about that one.
yeah, we got a lot to do. Yes, Gleb, it was so nice meeting you in person at MM6. I had a great time at that event, and I got to see Vlad. I got to meet Vlad's wife in person, and I had a great time. So if you're at MM6, I'm glad we got to connect.
Absolutely. I loved it.
So much fun. Vlad got to witness a slow motion run when I got to see Olga for the first time.
I know. I should have recorded it. It was something.
It was really cute.
It was like in the movies. They were just like slow motion running towards each other.
It's my favorite.
But,
I love it.
Natasha, thank you. Yeah, that I appreciate. That's great to hear feedback on the
Yeah, Natasha was there. We had some good times in the chat. It was good to see her. She shows up. It's awesome to have you there. And the graphics are so close to being at a real event. You actually like walk into the exhibit room. It's pretty cool. If you just want to see the graphics, just sign up for that. It's free.